Hey guys, John Gehring here. I thought I would go ahead and do a short video to show off the full version, the campaign version, give you a little bit of a tutorial there so you can know what to expect, and just for those of you that end up getting the game, what can you do. So the first choice you're going to have to make is with which starting point in the war you're going to want to start your campaign. The 1941 will begin right from before Pearl Harbor. And the 1943 will be right after the Mark 14 torpedoes were fixed, which will mean there's a far lower dud rate, and this is a lot easier start. But this is a little bit more, realistic, a little bit more of a challenge. Plus, you get to start in sub bases like in the Philippines or whatever. We're going to go ahead and do that. So when you click on prepare, you're going to then get your choice of which submarine you're going to start with. I'm just going to start with the Porpoise. It has 4 forward tubes, 2 stern tubes, etc. It has all your data right here. You can then choose which starting base you're going to start at. We're going to go ahead and stick with the Philippines, Manila. And then you can choose your difficulty level over here. Silent Shark is the highest difficulty level. So basically it's the hardest detection rate by other ships, the highest damage level. Aircraft bombing will do the most damage. There are aircraft that will bomb you, that will be on the lookout for you, that will come in as air support and things like that. And the escort strength is the strength of destroyers. The dud rate is based on historical data of the Mark 14 torpedoes. If you hit a ship head on, then there's actually a high dud rate where it just doesn't explode. That's the way it was in the first 2 years of the war. And that you can set that here, but on the highest level, that would be 50%. The way to have a higher rate of actually it detonating is, just as it historically was, hit a ship at an angle instead of head on. You can then choose, do you want to see other ships? I'm going to say never. And hydrophone distance, should you be able to roughly detect how far away ships are based on hydrophone? And I'm just going to pick none for now, but you could also change this. Each of these settings that makes it easier makes this difficulty level go down, and then you get a little bit less points or whatever. So anyways, if we hit deploy, then let me just walk you through. You're going to get your deployment orders. The primary thing to look at here is the patrol zone that you need to go to. And the rest of these are all just kind of atmospheric. It's 6th of December, 1941. Unbeknownst to us at the time, this is right before Pearl Harbor is about to happen. So we're not actually, in the beginning, not even allowed to have hostile action, but that's about to change very soon. So we hit on Start Patrol. Then this is what the campaign map looks like. So you just have basically a map of the Pacific. The black dot here is where we are at, so you can zoom in. And similar to the tactical or the encounter mode, you have your engine settings up here, your compass that you can set a certain target bearing, and your depth meter right here. One change of this up here is that you now have a schedule. So you can set how often do you want to be diving, and it'll just automatically be diving for a 3-hour cycle. So diving 3 hours, surface 3 hours, and so on and so forth. Or diving from 6 in the morning to 8 at night to just stay under the water during daytime. Or manual would be you're just literally setting it yourself. But seeing as how there are vast distances to cover and you have huge time compressions up here, up to 100,000 in fact, you're typically going to want to set one of these diving schedules. In the beginning of the war, probably a 3-hour cycle is fine. Later, there's going to be a lot heavier air cover, and you may want to do the 6 to 8, but that's just up to you. Then over here on the left, we still have our map tools, just like in the tactical mode. Over here on the right, it's a little different. So we have a hydrophone, but it's no longer one with a cone and the mini map, but rather you're just telling your guy to give you a sweep and see if you have a contact. Because as soon as you get a hydrophone contact, then you're going to be able to engage in this button over here. Currently, it just says return to base, but later it's going to say engage once you're near a target. So your hydrophone guy is going to be doing that. Now, he automatically, if you have a diving schedule, is going to be sweeping on his own. But if you want to tell him manually to do so, then as long as you're deep enough, so right now we're on the surface, but as long as you're deep enough, you can tell him manually to do that. So let's just maybe go out here. I can just show this real quick. We're going to double click, So double clicking plots a course to wherever you want to be going. So if we double click there, it'll make sure to avoid the islands, and it'll pick a course to wherever you want to go. Now, of course, the question is, where do we want to go? Well, we got our orders. So if we go on our resources tab here, then under current mission, we see the assigned zone is D3. If we click on that, it opens up this other resource, which is the patrol zone map. And D3 is this section right over here, which is right about here. So if we double click there, that's where we want to be headed. That's our patrol zone. We could have also opened that up right here, patrol zones. So let's go ahead and do time compression, get away from the coast. Now you'll notice one thing here is this turning thing. This is showing that your hydrophone guy has started automatically scanning and automatically sweeping the area. Now again, like I said, if I want to, I could just manually dive to, let's say, 100 feet and request a full sweep myself. So if I do that, boom, it just did a full sweep. He's not hearing anything right now. So let's go back to our diving schedule. And now that means every 3 hours, he's going to be diving and surfacing and diving and surfacing, and he's going to keep searching for contacts. So that's what the hydrophone is about. We'll get to that a little bit more in a bit. Then we have contacts. That's in case he has detected any contacts. Then those contacts will be listed here. This is just an event log for various things that have happened. And then there's a radio tab for receiving and sending radio messages of basically reports. So anytime another submarine or one of our aircraft spots a freighter or a ship, then we're going to get a radio message if it's anywhere near us, telling us roughly what direction was the ship or multiple ships headed in and at roughly what speed. And anytime we detect someone, we can then send in an observation, and that'll give us reputation points that'll help later on for our, basically for our grade, for upgrading to better submarines and things like that. So let's go ahead and speed up the time compression here. In fact, and lo and behold, Pearl Harbor was just attacked. We are now allowed to, and not only allowed, we're ordered to attack and sink Japanese merchant shipping. So we're going to keep going here, and probably relatively soon we're going to get some radio reports. And there's one. Okay, so we just got a radio report. This is what it looks like. So we have both on the radio tab here, we have a single ship reported about 440 nautical miles west, heading roughly east-southeast, going relatively fast. And then we see that here. It's somewhere here. He's headed somewhere like that. And this was at 6:50 a.m. Now, if we take out our shipping lane map, and that's basically intelligence that we have about where Japanese freighters are going. This is, by the way, based on actual shipping apps. We can see that this freighter here is probably either heading in our direction or he's headed out southeast. We don't know that quite yet. So we're going to keep going here, but we're going to try and kind of maybe intercept him and see if our hydrophone guy will pick him up here in a little bit. So we will now head in his direction. We're still on a 3-hour cycle. So every 3 hours we're diving and we're using our hydrophone. And now we just got another radio report that now there's one here headed in this direction. So it looks like clearly he's headed on that other shipping lane that is headed up in this way. So we're going to come up this way now and intercept him. So we change course to intercept him. Go ahead and keep our time compression at 1,000 for now. And in a little bit, there we go. We now have a hydrophone contact that is at bearing 301. It's one ship as far as our hydrophone guy can tell. And of course, he's relatively far away. He's probably, let's look at how far away he is. Yeah, he's somewhere about 90 miles away. Now, we could either now hit unengage and then in tactical mode, overcome 90 miles of distance. Or we could get a little bit closer here on the patrol map since we have a higher time compression. We're going to go ahead and do that. What we're going to do is we're going to double click to where we want to intercept him. And we're just going to get a little closer. Our hydrophone guy is going to keep tracking him. So that looks good. So that's probably close enough now. So now what we can do is we can radio in this contact. We can click on the sending tab here. Since we're still below the surface, we either can ascend and immediately send this, or we can just send when able. That is, the next time we're at the surface, we're going to send this radio report that we have a contact of a merchant. We're going to go ahead and ascend and send. So now he's climbing up, and we just sent that radio report. And because we just have this hydrophone contact, we're now going to be able to click on engage, and then now we are in the mode that you know if you've already played the demo. But at this point, you will now try and track him down. You'll try and sink him. Once you're done, you can disengage again, which we'll go ahead and do now. We'll just act like we had just sunk him. And then we would go to our radio tab. We would radio in the fact we had sunk someone, and that would be that. So that is how all of that works. Now, time zones are all figured out here as you travel west and east. The other thing that's figured out as you're going is your bathythermographic report. This is staying based on where you are on the map, how close you are to the coast, how far north you are, etc. This is simulating thermal layers. And the other thing you can do then is at some point you're going to want to return to base. Now, currently, of course, our mission is, if we go here, is to go to Patrol Zone D3 and patrol for 39 days. So we would probably want to be doing that. It will give us extra points if we do that, extra reputation points. But at sooner or later, then you're going to end up realizing during the war that this base here in Manila is actually going to fall to the Japanese, and so we're going to end up having new bases down here, and later those will fall as well, and we're going to end up down in Fremantle or in Brisbane. So that all of that develops as the war goes on, as well as you get new tech, you get new abilities such as getting radio transmissions below the surface. Your torpedoes will be fixed. But also the enemy is going to get a lot stronger. The freighters will become stronger. The destroyers will become stronger. The air support will thicken, and the war will slowly but surely develop. So all of those things, they're all in the game. They're all going to be out with the full version when it gets released. And in fact, you may be watching this after you purchased Silent Shark. I hope so. And I hope you are enjoying it. And if you have any questions, go ahead and write them in the comments or join our Discord. And also, if you want to, you can just try out the demo on the website and on Steam and on itch. All those links are in the description. So anyways, I hope this was fun, and I hope this made sense, and have a great day.